The Coleman brand has been around for many years, and many of us are very familiar with these 1-pound propane tanks. Now, according to the company's website, these are not refillable and it's not safe to do so. However, many companies have worked around that where they are able to take a certain device and refill these propane tanks for their own personal use. And you do have certain adapters that you could purchase to do so. The problem with these adapters is they always make the individual feel a little iffy when refilling their tanks. Once again, it is not recommended to refill the propane tanks, the 1-pounders that is, made by Coleman. You can see in my drawer here, I have lots of Coleman, but I also have another brand that is called MSR. And I use these for other reasons. Not the same application as I would use the 1-pound propane tanks made by Coleman. However, I've decided to take it a step further. If you are used to refilling these, then you don't have to change anything. But I have been refilling these for the past several years, and I always feel a little uncomfortable doing so. Now, I want to make one quick note. The entire housing of the Coleman propane tank is very thin in comparison to what I'm about to share with you. Now, there's 2 other companies that came out with refillable tanks. One is made by a company called Flame King. Another one is made by a company called Mr. Heater. Some people go with the Flame King. Some people go with Mr. Heater. I chose Mr. Heater for various reasons, and I'll share that with you in a second. It's not that these don't have a use, but when it comes to safely refilling your propane tanks and making sure they're done in a way that's not going to create a hazard around you, your family members, or others, I'd rather go the safe route. Once again, to each his own, and refill these at your own risk. Now, with the Mr. Heater, I chose these here. Now, I want to bring this a little closer because what I want you to do is look at the thickness here. Look at how robust it is. Look at the bottom. It can sit on its own also without having the tendency of tilting over. Now, before I show you more here, I want to share the Coleman. Now, look at the difference in the Coleman. You see the bottom is narrow? It has a tendency of tipping over, where this one is much wider on the bottom. You see the difference? Okay. Now, in saying that, I want to share some other things with you here. Now, you see there's a valve here. Okay? And this valve is very important in the process of refilling this tank. You see there's a plastic twist on here. And if you look closely, you'll notice that not only is there thread here, but there's thread inside of here, the cap. Now, what I love about this particular bottle, I'm not going to lie to you, I love functionality. And functionality is always my first priority. But the look of these bottles, the robustness, and always bet on black, I like this. I'm going to share something else with you. Refilling these is quite easy. It comes with this adapter here. And you have one end that connects to your propane tank. And you have the other end that connects to the receiving tank. So this one is going to go to your propane tank that you're trying to take propane from. And this end, you can see here, it has these 2 small little needles. If you look closely there, you'll see those little needles. And they lined up with the 2 needle inputs inside of the Mr. Heater. Now, you have this lever here, and this is how you disperse the propane from one tank to the other. Very easy to do, very safely done, and I like that. Now, some people may not care about this, But with the kit of the Mr. Heater, you get these 3 legs here. And these 3 legs attach simply by placing them on the bottom of your larger propane tank. In this case, we're talking about a 20-pounder. And you can do this with a 5-pound tank. You probably won't need all legs, but the legs are not a must. But it does give you some height in order to reach under and open up and close the valve on the dispersing propane tank. Now I want to show you the box here. This is the Mr. Heater fuel keg. Makes it easy. Now, the initial cost is expensive. It's not super expensive, but it may be expensive for some. You're looking at about, give and take, depending on who's selling them. Mine come from Home Depot. And you could purchase these anywhere between $10 and $18. And I did see them on sale, and that's why I said $10 and $18. And if you buy the kit, you're, I can't remember what the cost was, but let me explain this to you. If you have a 20-pound tank and propane is relatively affordable and inexpensive for many of us, dispersing your propane into these small refillable bottles, it's going to save you money, and you're going to reap the cost of what you spent on these immediately. You don't have to buy what I bought. You can just purchase one. Maybe you want 2. I have a total of 10. There's 5 here, and I have 5 at home. And I am going to be replacing my propanes, these, with these. Now you'll notice the difference here. The Colemans are a little bit taller than the Mr. Heater, but they roughly about the same in girth, if that makes sense to you folks. So I'm going to be placing these in here, and therefore I don't have to ever worry about leaving an empty canister at a campsite, which is something I do not do. You should always leave a campsite cleaner than it was when you first arrived at the campsite. But nevertheless, this is wonderful. I wanted to share this with you, and I thought you folks would get a kick out of it. Take care of yourselves and each other.